How do you create the perfect villainess anime? A young woman ends up in her favorite otome game, but in a plot twist, it turns out that she is the main antagonist. How do you one-up that premise? Well, it turns out it's simple. Instead of her, you send in her dad. Hello, and welcome back to Binging Last Season, where I tell you guys about anime that you can binge from last season and whether or not they're actually worth your time. Today we're talking about Akuyaku Reijo Tensei Ojisan, or From Bureaucrat to Villainess. Dad's been reincarnated. And look, it's simple. It's really simple. I'm only going to say this once. It's not getting better than this. This is hands down the best premise for Villainess anime. Nothing can be better than this concept. This concept alone carries the vast majority of this anime. You see, this is a dad. This is a standard issue dad in Japan. You can get him on Amazon for like $50. He's a city worker. He pushes pencils all day. He's balding. He's a big nerd. He has a big nerd wife, and they came together and had a big nerd child, and she is a huge fan of the otome game that this anime is based around. Her big nerdy dad is hit by a bigger and possibly nerdier truck. He gets isekai'd into the otome game and becomes the villainess. Simple, right? Wrong. I told you this was a perfect premise, and I meant it. This isn't written in the synopsis, so technically it's a bit spoilery, but you'll figure it out if you watch the intro and outro, and it's a spoiler for early on in the season. Look, he's not actually dead. When he gets hit by the car, he only ends up in a coma, and the world that he exists in as the villainess is playing out on the family room television screen in front of his wife and daughter. Most of the time it bothers me when an isekai protagonist gets to a world of magic and just wants to go back home to, whatever, their day job or something. In this case, it actually makes sense. Because he's just a dad, and he's a good dad too. He's a very doting father. He's cute as fuck. And he brings that into the game. And this is the one guy who I'm just like, oh yeah, it makes sense that you want to go home. It's appropriate that you would want to go home, even though he doesn't necessarily know that he's still alive and in a coma. We do as an audience, and for once, I'm actually rooting for him to get back to Japan. And when he assumes the role of villainess, he doesn't immediately go full otaku or go like, I'm gonna be the best there ever was, or I'm gonna be as evil as I possibly can be. I mean, that's his intent, but in truth, he's still a dad. He can't stop himself from being a dad, and so he just takes his doting father instincts into the video game and interacts with the main character like a father. It's perfect. The plot doesn't innovate at all. It doesn't stray away from your standard issue villainess anime, and it doesn't need to, because it has an S-tier premise. It is everything that you can imagine from a villainess anime, every little otome game, flashpoint, event thing that happens. But you take that situation and you put a city employee and father into that situation trying to act like the villainess, and everything feels new and refreshing. It's just, that is what an S-tier premise does to an anime. They don't need to change that much. They just need to approach it from a different perspective. And in that sense, it's so fucking clever. Like, take the first event from an otome game, right? The poor peasant girl ends up at the magic high school for nobles, and she's getting bullied or ends up embarrassing herself, and the villainess is there to, make fun of her and make her feel stupid. But then you take the nice girl who ends up in the body of the villainess, and you see how she treats her more kindly. Now, take that situation and imagine, instead of the nice girl in the body of a villainess, it's your dad. Unless your dad has a habit of beating you with a pair of jumper cables, and then imagine a nicer dad. I can appreciate a good dad, especially coming off of the back of Magic Maker, which gave us what I thought was a good dad, but ended up being screwed up with a stupid and unnecessary plot twist. The point is, really, a good dad is appreciated in any anime, but this is the perfect place to put him, because his contrast between himself and the character that he's supposed to portray, the villainess, is so perfect that it's just a bit that never gets old. The entire show runs off of this bit, and it never feels played out. And despite being a comedy, the show also has its fair share of intrigue and mystery. There are questions that aren't answered by the end of the season, but they don't feel, like they were dangling a carrot in front of my face saying, "Don't you want to know what happens? Find out next season." It's more so the show is playing out, the comedy is playing out, the story is playing out. I'm saying playing out a lot, Jesus. The questions that I have by the end of the runtime are not integral to the story that they told in season 1. It just allows for more story to be told in a future season. In my opinion, that is the way that you do mystery, intrigue, questions about the nature of everything that's going on. You leave a little bit there, but you wrap up the story that you're telling in one season. And that's exactly what they did. It's great storytelling. I could watch a few more seasons of this, not just to figure out the questions that I want answers to, but for the bit. It's still not old by episode 12. It has legs like you would not believe. And my only requirement for a season 2, one, is that it happens, obviously, but a secondary, request is that the opening and ending need to be just as good as season 1 because they blew me away. You know, I do not watch openings and endings that often. If anything, I'll take the songs and add them to a playlist if I like them enough. The opening and ending on this anime were fantastic. The opening is sort of retro a little bit and it's fun and it's having a good time. And the ending, the first time I watched it, I had the biggest, craziest, I looked like Jack Nicholson in The Shining. Just the biggest smile on my face that I'm smiling just thinking about it right now. The ending is absolutely hysterical and visually just beyond comprehension. And the best part, and I'll tell you guys this because I did not realize it until I was working on this video, is the little kid in the ending that's with the mom and daughter in the living room. I thought it was like, oh, do they have a brother that they just never show? No, it's the kid that he saved from getting hit by a truck, which makes it even better in retrospect. That everyone's dancing around in the living room, including the kid that he saved from getting hit by Truck-kun. So great. I gave it a 9 out of 10, which shouldn't be that surprising considering I've been heaping praise onto it for the last 7 minutes. If I have any complaints, it's that maybe 1 or 2 episodes felt like filler, although, I enjoyed them, so it doesn't actually matter. That being said, I enjoyed some of the Naruto filler, so my opinion there is kind of worthless. It's an S-tier concept executed at a very high level. It's a great comedy. I absolutely enjoyed it. I think you will too. That's it for this week's episode of Binging Last Season. Next week is a complete and total mystery, and I'll see you guys then.